So I click into the body text section, click on the color picker and select white. The other thing I want to do is increase the size of the text. You'll see just above it currently has size 10. I want to make that size 16. All you do, type it in, click in the preview window, and it updates accordingly. Have a play with all these settings. You'll soon find a colour scheme to match what you want it to look like. Do remember though, once you've made your changes, click Save These Settings. You'll get a little pop-up that says, thank you, these settings were saved. And that's now active. So, you want to get your customers to be able to book or request more information online. The first thing you need to do is decide how you want to do this. There are two main options on DJ Event Planner. One is called Request Info Form, and the other is called Instant Quote. There are pros and cons to both. Some people prefer to give an instant quote. Some people prefer to have the client email them to request more info and then you contact them. We'll look at the Request Info Form first of all. Click on Request Info Form from the Website Tools menu, and you can decide what information you want to have sent through to you. You'll also see that on the side here we have a particular set that are required. So if you select them, they're down as a required item. For example, you're always going to need to know the date of event. You're always going to need to know a contact name. You're always going to need to know an email address if you want it. On this occasion I'm going to tick yes, I want that. And if you want a mailing address, we make that a required one too. Same with telephone. Now, I don't need to know the venue on this request information form. However, I do need to see what type of package they want. Now, the other one I would like to know is how they found out about us as well, your inquiry source. So you can chop and change these however you wish. If we carry on down the page, you'll see that you can also add in custom questions. So for example, if you give a client a reference number before they go to your website, you can put this in there and map it to custom event ID. This gets a little bit more advanced, and I'll do a tutorial more on customization of questions a bit later on. For the time being, I'm going to delete that. If you do decide that you want to restrict what venues they can pick from, you can have a list of venues added to the system. Again, I'll show you more about that in the next tutorial. Now, the next thing we need to show you is included packages. So, with the request info, as you saw earlier, we'll just scroll to the top. I want to know what type of package they want. So, down here we have packages, included and excluded. I do not want people to be able to book the DJ and light show, for example. So to remove it, just double click it and it moves to excluded. To add it again, double click it and it's back. Again, for multi-ops that have employees, you can do the same with your employees. You can add and exclude as many as you want. Now, what I normally do as a single operator, I just leave myself in there. So we'll put TBA as included employees. Did you see how I double clicked to exclude them out? Exactly the same with venues and packages. Now we carry on down. A very nice little feature is SMS notification. This currently, as far as I'm aware, is only available in the US. I am looking into options for the UK, and I will do a tutorial on that once I find more details for you. And again, you've got alternative email notifications and autoresponder settings. So in other words, when they request more info, you can send an automatic email straight out to the customer, like with your instant quote, which we'll show you in a moment. Now, don't forget that you can save the settings at the bottom of every page. Always make sure you do this if you make any changes you wish to make live. There we go, so that is active. Just to double check, we'll scroll down. You'll see that most of it is quite self-explanatory. Troy, the creator, was quite good for us by putting in a description on each thing. Now, you need to get this on your website. So, the next thing you need to do is preview. Big yellow button at the top opens in a new window, and you can see what it's going to look like. So again, this comes down to your customizations. So how we changed the colors earlier, you can adjust it accordingly and just keep clicking preview. So I'm happy with this event request form. I now have the choice of how I want to put that on my website. I can either get a direct link, so I can allow for a link to the actual page rather than put it on the site. I can create a button. I can also create a HTML link as well. It gives you all the coding that you need. The other option is you can get the web page code. So you can use JavaScript to put this onto your site. So you can use this method to put the request information form straight onto your site. It uses JavaScript, and it will request the form from the DJEP servers and put it right on your page. You don't need to do any change to the code. If you do, it won't work properly, just to let you know. But you can literally drag and drop that straight into your current website coding. If you're not too sure on coding, then have a word with a web designer, or if you're on the forums, I'm sure one of the forum members will be able to help you out with that. I will do a tutorial on integration a bit later on. The other option is to get what we call the static form code. So you can put this directly onto your site, full script. So rather than us serving it to your customers, you serve it to your customers from your hosting. Again, this is a case of simply drag and drop into your current web hosting, your web design coding. And again, I'll show you more about integration into websites a bit later on. The other option you can do, instead of having them send a request form over, is what we call instant quote. I personally use this on my website, and again, it's fairly self-explanatory. The first thing to do is have a look at the preview. So by looking at the preview, you can see roughly what it's going to look like, and you can see that we're taking a bit of information from the customer, and the system will work out the prices for you. Just close that window just to show you the quick setup for it. So the first thing is included packages. Which ones do you want to include into your instant quote? You will have set this up when you create your packages. You'll see at the top it says whether or not it's active. The other thing is add-ons. Similar to your packages, but aren't sold out on an hourly rate. They're sold out at a set flat fee. Again, with your add-ons, it's like adding a package. You simply add one, put the details in, put the price, and save. So for the instant quote on the demo site, we have two packages. We have the demo package and wedding hourly. And also we have a laser show as well. You'll see that each of these are linkable, so you can quickly click them just to give you an idea of how much, description, category, and the status of it. If we click the back button on the browser, so I'm going to give you a quick view on how this one works before giving you the coding. So we click on preview. The client comes onto your website, picks a date, picks an event type, a start to finish time. For some reason I'm picking 1 in the afternoon till 6. They then put in a few details. And then they pick their package type. So on this occasion we'll pick the demo package. And the client doesn't want a laser show, so we're going to carry on. The next thing is we take a few details. So we take their name. Apologies for the spelling again. And we also take an email. They click view quote, and they're given a fully customized quote on the website. Straight away, no worries about calling you, no worries about having to email back and forth. You've got all the details, bang, there's their price. You've also got these details in your admin section. I'll show you about that in a moment. Now the other thing they can do is request more information. While you'll have received the information about this quote, it's always handy to know whether or not it's a warm or a hot lead. At the moment, this is what I call a warm lead. You've got some information, an email address, a name, and some package details. Now the customer wants to know more information, so they put in more information. By submitting that, this now becomes a hot lead. This will be flashing in your inbox in DJ Event Planner, so you know that the customer is really wanting to book and is happy with your price and wants more info. This is the screen they see. They see thank you for requesting more information. We'll be in touch soon. We'll close that window very quickly. And all quotes come into your inbox at the top here. I'll do a quick tutorial on that in just a moment. Again, with the instant quote, you can either get a direct link, so like the other one, you can just simply link to it, create a HTML link or a HTML button, or you can get web page coding for it. Using an iframe via the copy and paste selection here, you can plop that into pretty much any website that uses standard HTML. It gives you a quick sample idea of what it's going to look like as well. Okay, so that's your options of getting information in. You do have a standard contact form as well that you can use. But I bet you're asking, what's the point of offering this and having it all come into the back end? Well, the point of having an instant quote or the request info quote is it makes it easier to add the details to your system and organize all the details into one place. As I showed you earlier, we got a request information and an instant quote. All these come into this flashing icon inbox at the top. If we click that, and you'll see here that I've created a few demo add-ins.